Welcome back to the Fairway Feed, everybody. This past weekend we had the Players Championship out at TPC Sawgrass, and there was a lot of stories that came out of this tournament, including a bit of drama between Rory and a spectator. We had the Creator Classic 2. We saw some gusty weather conditions in the third round, which would flip the tournament on its head, and it all culminated in a playoff match between two players on Monday morning to finish off with a 3-hole stretch. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it. Now we have to address the elephant in the room, which took place on Tuesday during a practice round that Rory was partaking in. For those that are not aware, while Rory was playing a practice round on the Tuesday leading up to the tournament, he would hit a ball off one of the tee blocks that would end up finding the water. While this was happening, a fan was filming on his phone, heckling Rory by saying, "Just like at Augusta in 2011. Rory famously blew his lead to win his first green jacket during this tournament, and it's clearly still a sore spot for Rory, as he has not been able to capture the elusive win and secure the career Grand Slam that he has since been chasing. McIlroy would approach the fan and ask to see his phone, where he promptly took it away and walked away with it, and leaving the fan confused as to what had just happened. Things got even more awkward when Rory was pressed on this by the media following the first round of his tournament. Take a listen here.
No, you can't. Why? Because I don't want you to.
Right. The whole thing, I think, was made stranger by the fact that it wasn't a civilian, that it was a player. I mean, is it surprising? Did you know that, and did you learn that later, and did it surprise you when you learned it?
I'm really happy that I shot 67 today.
Rory is no stranger to fan and media controversy alike. The spectator would be removed by security and given his phone back at McIlroy's request. What made matters more interesting was that the fan was also a college-level golfer himself, and not to make any excuses for Rory or his behavior, but the spectator definitely knew better as a high-level player himself. They did take full responsibility for their actions and would apologize afterwards. Following the controversy, we had the second Creator Classic occur on Wednesday afternoon. Now, I'm a strong advocate for this event, not only as a content creator myself, but with the first Creator Classic last year being such a success, it's a really great avenue to introduce younger fans to the sport and to the PGA Tour itself. For many people, it's fun to watch people who are more relatable to their own golf game going out and facing a difficult course in tour level conditions. There was actually a handful of really great shots from the creators, and some, well, not so great shots. I'm looking at you, Trent Ryan of Barstool Sports. Fab Perez of Bob Does Sports would actually have a Tiger-esque putt on the 17th island green to sink a massive birdie, and he would get the spectators absolutely fired up. But it would be Grant Horvath who would seal the deal in a 3-man playoff on the 17th hole to beat George Bryan and Soli. The Creator Classic has been such a success that there will be 2 more in 2025. One is going to occur in May at the Philadelphia Cricket Club, and another at East Lake before the 2025 Tour Championship. With some of the preliminary news out of the way, we headed straight into round 1 of the Players Championship. Some big players coming out strong in the opening round, including JJ Spawn and Lucas Glover, both with an impressive 66 on the day, as well as Dr. Chapinski himself, Min-Woo Lee, and Rory McIlroy, both with their own showing of 67 in the opening round. Some big names really struggled to put anything together in the opening round, including Justin Thomas with a 78, and Max Homa and Victor Hovland, who continue to struggle pulling their games together to have something to show for it. Both of them would have a better second round showing, but ultimately would fall short of making the cut again. Both have historically done quite well at the Players in the past, but 2025 was a different matter altogether. Round 2 is when things started to really kick up a notch. Morikawa would shoot a 65, and Min-Woo Lee would have another great outing with a 66, along with Akshay Bhatia, Tommy Fleetwood, Will Zalatoris, and 2025 Farmers Open champ Harris English. Wyndham Clark would end up having to withdraw from the tournament completely after his first 9-hole stretch on Friday due to a neck-related injury that would render him unable to continue. But the big story of the round was Justin Thomas tying the course record with an unbelievable 62, and would have likely seen him beating the record had he avoided a water ball on the 18th hole right at the end of his round. He would have 11 birdies on the day with just 1 bogey coming at the 18th hole. He would tie the course record that was held by Tom Hoge, who coincidentally broke the record in 2023 when he was paired with Justin Thomas himself. JT would go from being at the bottom of the leaderboard with an opening round 78 to shooting all the way up to 4 under with his 62 in the second round, and saw him going on to playing the weekend. The third round was when those strong wind gusts began to creep their way onto the course, which would take even some of the biggest names in the field for a loop, with the scoring average jumping up to 70 for the day. People who were at the top of the leaderboard started to quickly fall off, including Morikawa and Fleetwood. Both had a great second round, but would fall off shooting a 77 and 75 respectively. And even Min Woo Lee and Akshay Bhatia would card their worst rounds of the tournament in the third round with a 75 and a 78, which saw them sliding down the leaderboards as well. It wasn't bad news for everyone though. Corey Connors, Bud Cauley, and Danny Walker would all shoot a 66 despite the windy conditions. Danny Walker wasn't even set to play this tournament as early as last week, but Jason Day pulled out last minute due to an illness, and Walker would be given the opportunity to play in his place. The final round still had gusty conditions, but the wet weather would slowly roll its way in. Keegan Bradley would muster his second hole-in-one for 2025 on the 13th hole, and while it may not have been the island green that many hoped for, given the weather conditions, it made the hole-in-one that much more impressive. Play would end up being suspended around the halfway mark of the round due to thunderstorms that were beginning to roll in, and a 4-hour delay would occur before the players would be able to head back out to finish up the day and race to beat the sunset. Rory would shoot another 68 on the final round, finishing with a very risky putt that just barely caught the edge of the hole to fall in. He would end up tied with JJ Spaun, who were both 12 under par for the tournament, but with the weather delay and the sun quickly setting, the playoff round between the two would be pushed to Monday morning. As Monday morning rolled around, Spaun and McIlroy would tee off and play the 16th, 17th, and 18th hole to decide the overall winner. Rory would birdie the 16th with Spaun making a par, but the 17th hole would be the undoing for JJ Spaun, who would miss the island green with an 8-iron in hand. He would shoot over the green and unfortunately find the water. While Rory would walk away with a bogey on 17, Spaun would actually end up shooting a triple bogey. And now with a 3-shot difference heading into the 18th, there was nothing further Spaun could really do to hold off Rory for his second win this season, and also coincidentally his second win on St. Patrick's Day. So note to any viewers, if you happen to be at a tournament and think heckling Rory would be a good idea, I think it's only going to serve as more motivation for him to secure that win. So you've been warned. And that'll do it for the 2025 Players Championship. This has been a very fun tournament to cover and by far the most exciting Players Championship that we have had in a long time. We're still going to be in Florida for the Valspar tournament next weekend, and then we're hopping over to Texas for 2 more tournaments as we inch our way ever closer to the first major of the year, and that'll be for the Masters at Augusta National in Georgia. So until then, everybody, hit them straight and keep them in the fairway, and we'll see you real soon.